Did the Pittsburgh Steelers just put the proverbial nail in Baker Mayfield's coffin?
What up, dude? It is week 18. We're prefacing week 18, going into the playoffs, and one of the more exciting playoff seasons I can remember.
Yes, sir.
Stacking them up. Got a few teams on the outside looking in.
Yes,
we
sir.
got my guy Mike Nash joining. What up, Nash?
What's going on, baby?
Hey, man, just looking things over, trying to figure out of all the stuff to talk about this week. We nailed it down to a few things. We're going to talk about the 5 best bets of the week, which is a theme here.
Yes.
NFL overall playoff picture. We're going to hit the futures bets, and I think Nash and I are going to give you a $100 gun to your head type of wager.
Yes.
And we're going to do a best quarterback wide receiver tandem since 1990. And we're not talking about some dude who put up stats with the guy for 10 years. We're talking about the most dangerous tandems in a single season. So that should be fun.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's jump right into the best 5 bets. Get that past us here. I've got 5 quick ones here. I've got Dallas and Philly. Cowboys going into Philadelphia. We're going to take the over on that, 42.5 points. I think both teams need a win. They're both in playoff position. They're jockeying for home field, or at least in the wild card race. 42.5. I think both teams they have to score. Both teams are. I think honestly, both teams are mediocre. I don't think Dallas is as good as people think they are. I don't think Philly's that good either, but I think they both need to score. What are your thoughts on that game?
I think I agree with you because, in all honesty, if you look at the performance that the Eagles had last week, and you also look at the performance that the Cowboys had, you kind of look and see that these guys, during the beginning of the season, a lot of people were just so high on the Cowboys, and we've seen this train wreck millions of times. But, I think that Dak and Jalen Hurts both come out, swing the ball all around the field because both defenses don't know how to play in big games. I can also see some defensive scores because the quarterbacks don't know how to play in big games. So I can see an equal amount of disaster on both sides to get that over that 42.
Agreed. I think one of these two guys is going to get a lot of experience out of this. We're talking about the quarterbacks. Both have been pretty solid regular season players and have not done much in the playoffs. Hopefully one of them can get over the hump here. Next game, I like the Bengals plus 1.5 over the Browns. And I don't even know if that line is even real. Maybe I should check it again because the Bengals getting 1.5 at Cleveland. Now I know the Browns are a team that at the beginning of the year was like the sexy Super Bowl pick because they do have a ton of talent there, and they're a lot better than I think they've shown in their 7-9 or whatever they are.
Yeah.
The Bengals, bro, are coming on, and they have been coming all year, and I've been just talking smack about how great Burrow is and how great he's going to be. Jamar Chase is next level. These guys are gross. You got Mixon out here, like I think I just mentioned before we started on here.
Yeah.
Mixon, it runs like it's the last day of his life every time he touches the ball. And those three are just going to be awesome for like a decade, hopefully, to watch. Thoughts on this game? Do you think the Browns have any shot of beating the Bengals?
I think that this is a pride game for the Browns, and I don't know, since the Bengals clinched last week, I don't know necessarily if Burrow and those guys will play. That's why I think maybe that line looks the way it does, and Vegas is seeing, that is trying to push it that way, because if Burrow and Jamar and, like you said, Mixon, if they don't play, then I don't know who the guys are behind those. Whoever the quarterback is, doesn't matter. This game is a lost cause for the Bengals. They're looking for the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think they're 10-6. They're locked into the playoffs. They locked into the championship. And I'm not sure. I didn't do enough research on this. I think they can still reach home field. With the championship, they've got home field against the 6th seed, whoever they play against. But I'm not sure if it's possible that they can beat Tennessee for the overall top seed in the bye week. But you're right. I mean, but even then, I think Baker Mayfield's questionable, and he sucks. And can we talk about that? Is it over for him? The Mayfield honeymoon is over, dude. That guy sucks. I actually defended him a lot early on. He's a kid. He's got to learn. He's got to learn to be poised in the pocket, blah, blah, blah. He sucks, dude. I mean, that was embarrassing to watch him.
9 sacks. That just can't happen. I mean, the guy gets injured every time we watch him on, and every Sunday he's hurt. Makes poor decisions. Already was undersized. You use a top draft pick on somebody like that, and then you just see the Browns. It's the Cleveland Browns. Everybody want to talk about the Lions. The Browns are right there with them. That type of talent that they have over at Cleveland, he couldn't get it done with OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, a slew of backs, to be quite honest.
Freaking all-pro team. I mean, it was
Miles Garrett. I mean, come on, man.
He sucks, dude. I mean, it's over. The Johnny Manziel Part 2 experiment is over.
Exactly.
He's out, dude. I mean, I honestly, I think unless he comes out, and that's the other reason to bet this, if you're a Browns person, Mayfield's playing for his life, and maybe pulls something out of his ass and gets it done. If the Bengals bench their whole starting lineup, however that works out, but
he's done. He's nobody's taking a flyer on him as a starter anymore. He's going to be a backup, and maybe not even in the NFL,
unless he throws 15 touchdowns Sunday, which ain't happening. Second piece on this same game, we're going to the Bengals and Browns over 43, and again, I don't care who's playing. These two teams, this is a rivalry. It's Ohio Super Bowl, and both of these teams historically suck. Well, the Bengals don't suck right now. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Burrow and Chase are the best young tandem that we've seen in a long time, to be honest with you.
I agree.
And the over is only 43, and Mayfield playing for his career. I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in here, even if it's garbage time. Defensive scores, because Mayfield might throw 3 or 4 pick sixes. I don't know what's going, but
I can. I only thing that I see is if Burrow and those guys don't play, I can see the Browns trying to act as if this, like you said, this is not just Ohio Super Bowl, but their Super Bowl. Myles Garrett at one point in time was, maybe up for Defensive Player of the Year in some people's eyes. He may try to get after whoever, if it's a backup quarterback, because the Bengals line is still a suspect line. So if they sit one of their key guys on the line, he can have an easy day. So I can see it.
Yeah, there's so much talent in the Browns. It's got to be hard for them to be sitting there at 7-9.
Yeah.
Fourth bet out of the best 5 bets, 49ers at Rams. Take the over in that game also, 44.5. Both of these teams are alive and well. The Rams are hanging people too. The Rams, my guy, number 9, Matty Stafford, my guy. He's been my guy for a decade. OBJ getting it done at the buzzer again. These guys, I mean, Stafford's been winning games at the buzzer for a decade.
Yeah.
Super underrated. This team's coming together. They've won 5 straight. And the 49ers, let's be honest, I don't know what they are, but they're not dead.
No.
And both of these teams are playing for something. They both need to win this game. And the 44.5 doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think they crush this. I think it goes to 54.5.
I hate it because I don't want people to think that I'm just agreeing. I just believe that what you're saying, what you're giving me is good information, because listen, 3 scores, 3 touchdowns for both of these teams is very easy. We've seen Deebo Samuel rip 3 himself. We just seen, it almost looked like maybe the Rams could have been dead in the water last week. And then you see, again, cardiac kid, Matt Stafford, doing what Matt Stafford has always done. It just this time he has a group of a talent around him that can make the plays, and the defense that can help make those plays as well to solidify those victories. And then, like you said, the 49ers, if it's going to be Trey Lance, if it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo, doesn't matter. It seems like Kyle Shanahan just sticks either one of them in and has the game plan for those guys to rock and roll. So, I mean, 3 touchdowns and a field goal for both of these teams is very easy. Very, very easy.
Yeah, and like you said, that for those who haven't followed Stafford's whole career, and most people haven't because he was a Lion for so long, he's a high-pressure player, and he's known for making amazing comeback finishes, but he's also known for making that one brain-dead mistake in the middle of a game for no reason at all. A lot of quarterbacks have that tendency. But like you said, he's never had anybody around him like this. OBJ ripping it with his size 20 gloves out of the air. Saved his ass a couple times. Is very impressive. That was the signing of the year was OBJ to the Rams.
Man, and a lot of people questioned it. A lot of
I
people
did.
it.
I hate OBJ. And he looks especially with your guy Robert Woods going out.
Yeah,
I mean, he couldn't have worked out better for that whole team.
We talked about that, and that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yep, they needed him worse. I mean, who would it be out there? It'd be me and you out there playing slot. I mean, just forget about it. Last game on the top 5 bets, Patriots at the Fish. We're going over. The over-under is 40 on this thing. Patriots coming off a 50 burger. They just laid on the Jets or whoever. Who did they just hammer? Wasn't?
Yeah, no. It wasn't the Jets. It was
Jags.
Jacksonville. Yes.
And to second that, the Fish are dead. Dolphins are out, mathematically eliminated. But Tua, and I'm a Tua hater guy. I'm a Tua hater. But dude has come on, won a lot of games. I think they're 8-8 or whatever they are. Impressed a lot of people. I still don't think he's a legit great NFL quarterback, but he showed some heart and he got him pretty close, and it's good to see. I think they still have something to play for, which is pride, and going into next year. Between these two, going over 40 seems like way too easy to me.
I don't know if Bill. I don't know if his game plan is always we're gonna play. So if my guy Mac Jones is playing, if the dogs are out there on defense, which I believe in a Bill Belichick fashion, we don't let up for anybody.
They never have.
And no, it didn't matter. Sitting time. No, we're not doing that. So, and then looking at Tua, he's the total opposite of Baker Mayfield. Even though he's been in the league a little less time, it's been a lot of adversity that's been thrown his way with the terrible organization that the Miami Dolphins are.
Terrible.
But he showed resiliency. And even though we've talked about he throws the ball a little weird, small man, gets injured a lot, but when he's in the game, he's making plays time after time again. So if everybody's playing, I can see it go. I can see that number being crossed, especially for the Dolphins. If they want to beat us just to have another Super Bowl for themselves, they're gonna play very hard.
Good. I think we're on the same page on most of these things. Let's go to the NFL overall playoff picture, which is honestly, I've been watching the league for 100 years. This is one of the cooler years I've seen in a long time because I think there's so much parity. I mean, look at this in the AFC. We'll start there. Number 1 seed Tennessee, 11-5, and that team is not that good, bro. I mean, but Henry's coming back. I understand, makes them a different team. But I mean, look at who stands out here to you. I don't see anybody. You got to me the most dangerous teams have young quarterbacks, some suspect somewhere, or they have, in Tennessee's case, Ryan Tannehill, who's never won a big game in his life, never even come close. What do you see here that stands out for you? And by the way, let me poke through and show you that there are 3 outsiders looking in: the Raiders, Steelers, and Ravens. And I think we can pretty much write off the Steelers and Ravens.
Yeah.
Do you see the Raiders making any noise? And then what about this? It's cool the Raiders are still alive after the shit they've been through this year, by the way.
Yeah, and I think that would probably be the biggest dark horse because I don't know if Derek Carr has the ability to, again, another guy that's never won a big game. He's in the Tannehill-esque category where you've seen him have not great teams, but really good teams, and the ability where they should have maybe beat some teams that they didn't in the big game. Regardless if Derrick Henry's coming back or not, I know he's an animal, but over half the season hasn't played. That's still something they shouldn't do with a guy that they've given, a Brinks truck worth of money to. Kansas City, if we want to be honest, that's the team. That's the team that we're getting here. We've seen the magic that Mahomes has. We've seen the Tyreek Hill. We've seen that entire organization, including Andy Reid. Regardless of back at the Eagles, he couldn't really get the job done there, but we've seen Mahomes be able to get him over that hump. So I think it's Kansas City because, as you said, all the other guys are young. I like Burrow. Of course, I love Mac Jones. Buffalo, great. But, again, a lot of guys that haven't proven themselves. Mahomes is the guy that's proven himself.
we're looking around this page right now. You got Mahomes, you got Burrow, you got Josh Allen, Mac Jones, and Herbert, who are probably the top 4 or 5 best young quarterbacks in the league. I still call Mahomes a young guy. I know he's 4 years in or whatever he is.
Yeah.
You're right. I think Kansas City had that real slow start. They looked like hell. People were burying Mahomes. That's the only reason they're not the number 1 seed. And by the way, it's mathematically possible they can still get there. Same with the Bengals. But it's KC's division to lose. And I think outside looking in, I don't think the Raiders can get there. I mean, the Chargers, even if they do, they're going to play either KC or Cincy in the first round and be out.
Yeah.
So
Herbert, I like Herbert, but again, another guy that sometimes it's iffy. He plays a good game and then makes 1 or 2 of those Stafford-esque decisions, and it's like, oh man, well, we'll see you guys next year. Hopefully, you do better. Yeah,
I'm not a big Herbert guy. He looks like you know what he reminds me of? He's like Jim guy. He's Jim guy. He goes out and he's flexing his biceps in the mirror guy and all that. I don't know. He's kind of a turnoff. You don't see man's game guys like Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers flexing their muscles in the freaking mirror and shit like that. So, just my opinion. Here we go. Let's go to the NFC side. Let's jump right off of it and say the New Orleans Saints are the only team not in this picture here that are still mathematically alive, and let's just bury them. They're done. Taysom Hill is not getting there. Thanks for coming out. It's been cute. It's cool for. I guess it's a small victory for them to be still alive going into the last week, but they're dead.
Yeah.
Next, Green Bay, Rams, Tampa Bay, Dallas. I mean, look at this. The NFC is way better to me. Outside of the Chiefs. Look at what you got here. You got Green Bay, who's done it before. Rodgers has won Super Bowls. Might still be the best QB in the league all around. I don't know. You tell me besides Brady, obviously.
Yeah. It's those two regardless.
Yeah, you got Stafford and the Rams are stacked on both sides of the ball. You got Brady, who I don't care who you are, that's the best of all time, with a pretty good team around him.
Yeah.
Dallas is dangerous, but I don't think they can hang with those top 3. Arizona's dangerous, and I don't think they can hang with those top 3. That is 5 monstrous teams. I think those, honestly, there's an argument to say those top 5 in the NFC are better than everybody in the AFC except the Chiefs, to me. Go ahead. What's your opinion on what do you see here?
Without a doubt. The thing about Green Bay is that it's been one of those seasons. It's been one of those magical rides. It started from early on when the turmoil and maybe Rodgers isn't in it all the way, and then Rodgers comes out and has an MVP year. 13-3. Devontae Adams is arguably the best receiver in the NFL.
Dude, I buried him. I'll be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
In week 1, everybody likes to jump wild conclusions that it's over. But I just had that with the Jeopardy thing and all the off the field stuff. I was like, Rodgers doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate him for it. I still think Rodgers is an all-time great instant Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah.
He's on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks at this point. I mean,
yeah,
talk about whatever you want. He's one of the all-time greats. I just thought he was done. I thought he was done, like mentally he was checking out. And then he comes back and, like you said, he's an MVP again this year.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, without a doubt. Joke. Didn't lose a step. And maybe he was doing the old bait and switch on us the first game. Maybe that's what in a Rodgers way, because Rodgers is that kind of pompous dude where it's like, hey man,
care.
y'all, this is what y'all wanted to see. All right, I gave it to you. Now watch this.
I'm gonna come out with a dirty mullet and look like I just rolled out from under a trailer. I mean, but then the guy comes out and he has been unbelievable. Yeah, Joe Dirt rolling out from under a trailer. Comes out first game of the year and looks like it is a curtain call. Thanks for coming. People were burying him just like him and Mahomes both, but Rodgers looked like it was over and he didn't care. He wanted to host Jeopardy. I was killing him for it. He shut me up. I've loved Rodgers since he was a kid. The last few years though, I don't know what he's doing. He kind of lost me there, but he's still one of the best in the league, if not the best.
Yeah, and I mean, and then you got and of course Tampa Bay. It's Tom. We're just writing off, Super Bowl, the Super Bowl champs can't do that. I don't care what. I don't care. Antonio Brown could take off his jersey 50 times. Doesn't matter. If 12 is sitting there in the pocket, you got a chance to win every single game.
Is Fournette out for the year? Is Fournette out for the year?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a big thing to me.
That is a big guy.
He's a piece to them because they've had enough injuries. They've lost everybody. Antonio Brown ripping his shirt. I mean, I won't even go into that.
Yeah,
I'm a Central Michigan graduate. The guy makes me want to puke blood.
We talked about Goodwin, and
yeah,
a lot of those things hurt. But I've seen Tom do it with less.
Tom's do it with worse. He's done it with worse. So,
and then we talked about Arizona. Hey, after the Lions lost, I don't care. I don't care if they're 11-5. I don't care what they are. That ship is sailed. Dallas is gonna do Dallas things. Philly, trash. They don't have a chance. And
that
then
Dallas and Arizona game, if that happens, if that 4 and 5 seeds stay the same, that will be an interesting game to watch.
Oh, it will. Oh, that's for sure.
A great game to watch because that's a battle of who wants to lose more. I think.
Yeah, and
they're both good. They're both capable. I mean, they at times I think there was people saying that at different times this year that each one of those teams were the best in the league, and I'm sitting there going, "What about Green Bay? What about the Rams? What about Tampa and KC?" My top 4 stayed the same pretty much all year. It was Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Rams, and KC.
And look at them. Look at them. They haven't. They haven't.
And why? Because you got Aaron Rodgers and Brady. The Rams, they almost got there with Jared Goff, dude. And then they had Stafford, who's a legit quarterback. Now they're there. And Mahomes, who's been there. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league under 30.
Yeah. So, and again, and with the last one being the Rams, it's like, dude, if Matt Stafford can put those 3 games together and get it done, and we see something of magic. This is very interesting. This is going to be, again, this has been one of the most interesting football seasons we've seen, and this playoff picture is proving that it's going to be a great playoffs as well.
Agree or disagree, Stafford's got the talent to win the Super Bowl this year right now. Not that he will mentally or avoid the mistakes, but does he have the talent and the weapons to do it?
He's always had the talent to do it, as far as personally. I think that now you got Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, OBJ, Cooper Kupp. You got all of these different things that's coming together with Sean McVay. Yeah, he has to have it.
Say it. I'm a 9 guy. I know you've kind of been a 9 hater.
Yeah, I mean,
you're a Patriots guy. And by the way, this guy was a Patriots guy before it was cool to be a Patriots guy. I'll give him that much.
Very true. If you want to be honest, Tom Brady went to Michigan. I was very upset. We gave Drew Bledsoe the first $100 million contract, and I was very, very sad when I watched him die on the football field.
Yep. Agreed. All right, so we've buried all but I think 4 teams as far as who's going to win the Super Bowl. But let's take a look at this. Is interesting to me. Super Bowl futures odds, and I think they got it pretty close here. So basically, it's here's the odds if you went to, this is MGM Grand Casino in Vegas. If you were to bet $100 right now, you get 4-1 odds on the Packers, 5-1 on the Chiefs. So I'm going to ask Nash here, and I'm going to scroll down. We're going to see you see the obvious choices.
Yeah.
Do you see anything that sticks out to you as, of course, those top 3 are probably going to win the Super Bowl. But if you scroll down and start seeing some of these big odds, you're like, wow, man, maybe it's worth that long shot to try to hit one of these things. And if I'm being honest, I don't see anybody between or below the Bengals that interest me.
No.
I mean, the Steelers, Ravens, and Raiders aren't even going to make the playoffs, or the Saints.
No.
The Eagles have Jalen Hurts. They're done. Chargers aren't there even close. The Niners aren't even close. The Bengals, doubtful, but magic could happen, I guess. And then above them, the Colts have no shot. I think you just buried the Cardinals. The Titans are buried. But what do you see here? If you had a gun to your head and $100 in your hand, and they said you got to bet this $100, and if you don't win, we're gonna blow your brains out. Who are you betting?
It's terrible because people are gonna say, "Oh, you just said how much of a fandom you are. How much fandom you have for the Patriots." But this Bill's been wanting this chance to get to the playoffs. And if we have the opportunity to play anybody, I always give us an opportunity to win. And I think that, and this isn't conjecture or anything. This is our defense is stout. Mac Jones is great at what he does, and that's just standing in the pocket and throwing it to the open receiver. We have a decent running game, and I think putting up those 50 points, again, it's just been building morale. A lot of people just been like, you're never going to
be big.
You're never gonna, even though it's the Jags, you're never gonna get back to the success that you once had. It will be the Patriots because I've
18-1, bro. And I'll be honest, I think I wouldn't make that bet. But if you told me, if you told me I couldn't take one of those top three, there's only two teams I would touch. Well, three. Of course, my guy 9-1 on the Rams. The Patriots are interesting at 18-1 because what a story it would be for Belichick and these guys if they got there without Brady and did it. That'd be freaking incredible. And then I like the Bengals. I like the Bengals. It ain't gonna happen this year, but at 20-1, stranger things have happened. Hey. Anybody else, I'm out.
Yeah, and the Rams have a legit chance. I know that they're underneath. They should be higher than the Bills. They should be higher. It should be the top four.
The Bills have way less of a shot than the Rams to me.
Absolutely.
The Bills, I think, are down. To me, they like more like 15-1. They're down here between the Titans, maybe they're between the
Cardinals and Patriots.
Somewhere in there. They're not bad, but that team's not ready, dude.
Nope.
And I don't just based on Tom Brady alone, I don't know how he's third choice, but hey, go bet it. Can you imagine if the Buccaneers are out, who's going to win? There's my question. There you go. Seal it.
If the Buccaneers are out,
it's got to be A-Rod, right?
I hate Green Bay, but another legend story where it's I love to see the legend story because, in 10 years from now, if I'm blessed to be able to see it 20 years from now, we'll be able to have that conversation of, hey, people wrote Aaron Rodgers off. He had one of the craziest off seasons. He hosted Tampa and then won the Super Bowl. It'd be great. This great legend.
Or Mahomes starts developing into an all-time great with another win. It's a fun year. Like I said, there's a lot of storylines here, man. It's been fun. And I checked out on the NFL for a few years. I've been fully back in this year, and I'm sucked back in hardcore because it's been a fun year to watch. There's 19 storylines. There's no favorite. I don't care who you are. There's no favorite. You see it with the Buccaneers. Brady's won 1,000 Super Bowls. He's still not the favorite. That tells you everything you need to know. Then you got, the best teams that are run by young guys right now, 20-1 type odds. It's going to be fun, dude. So
yeah, bright future for the league.
Yeah, exactly, man. Let's see what else we've got. Lastly, we just figured we'd talk on something since Burrow and Chase set another league record yesterday for the greatest single game receiving yards record, I believe, right?
It was
266,
something like that. What is it? 11 receptions, something crazy.
Just stupid dominance, and they've been doing it a lot, even with Burrow coming back from the injury, and that is a wildly talented team that could be. They're both. What are they? 24 years old and younger.
Man, those guys barely could drink. A year and a half ago.
Yeah, dude. So that brought to mind the last topic we'll touch on. We'll make it quick since we're already 29 minutes into this thing. The best quarterback, wide receiver tandems. Let's go with not the best. Let's go with the most dangerous. If you had one season to win a Super Bowl, and you had one tandem to do it in their primes. We're not talking about, the Rich Gannon, Tim Brown, who did their thing for 10 years.
Yeah.
Although that's a great tandem. If you mentioned them, I wouldn't be mad at you.
Yeah,
if you were going to take, I'm going to throw one out there for you. Tom Brady and Randy Moss had the one single season that was the most ridiculous statistical season of all time.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. That is the most dangerous tandem of all time.
Yes.
single season. They only played together for 1 or 2 seasons or whatever it
Two
was.
seasons, 37 games.
Yep. And that was unbelievable. So with that said, we're not talking about the longevity. You know, the guy, I think Tim Brown and Gannon was a good example of that. They had 10 good years together, but
They had about five with Gannon and Tim for sure.
And there's a bunch of others out there. Let's talk from we both put together a quick top 5. I actually have about 7, but we'll touch on them. Go ahead. Give me your first one. Let's start from the bottom to the top.
Bottom to the top for me is going to be Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald.
Boom. Beautiful. And dude, and this goes back to my guy, one of my best friends. He's a huge Steelers fan. I hate the Steelers. I hate Roethlisberger. But Roethlisberger, man's game, and straight up raped Warner and Fitzgerald. And he did it legit, dude. I mean, because Warner and Fitzgerald went down in man's game to that Super Bowl. They took the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And then Roethlisberger took it right back from them at the buzzer, basically. And just one of the greatest displays ever, Roethlisberger, which even if you hate him like I do, mad respect from that thing, dude. Like,
yeah,
Fitzgerald, one of the all-time greats, and Warner, one of the all-time greats for about a 6 or 7 year window. There, it was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Fitz is again a first ballot Hall of Famer. But their time together, if he would have got Kurt at a different time in his career, it would have been Larry Fitzgerald. They even say Larry Fitzgerald would have a better career. It's crazy because he's number 1 or 2 in most statistical categories.
He's on a lot of bad teams, dude.
Yeah,
a lot of bad teams.
So yeah, that's me.
And that kind of parlays into my bottom of the top 5 here for me was Brett Favre and Sterling Sharp, who was kind of in that same boat because Sterling Sharp and Favre only overlapped by a few years, and Favre did not get. They didn't meet each other's prime except for a couple of years. Sharp had 18 TDs the 1 year. Favre was doing it himself on a bad team. That's why I like him so much. And is he one of the all-time greats? Probably. He's a top 10er. He's not a top 5er, but I would take him in crunch time in his prime, dude. He was doing some things by himself.
I agree.
Not a great team around him.
I agree.
Let's move up.
Yeah.
Who you got in your 4th spot?
My next one is going to be Warren Moon and Chris Carter.
Look at this. I'm going to need some explanation because you're talking Vikings era.
Yeah.
We're talking a Vikings era that had some mad offense.
Yeah, and this is this is the thing. This is before
Randy Moss, right?
Before Randy, and and this is
Robert Smith there.
Yeah, Robert Smith was in, but he was in there, but he was in between. And then
just take nothing away from Warren Moon. Warren Moon's a monster.
Listen, again, Hall of Famer. Warren Moon, they're looking at him after the Oilers. A lot of people kind of maybe wrote him off. He had an injury. But he was
like 35 years old by the time.
Exactly. Went to the had already had a career in the Canadian League. So Warren Moon and Chris Carter only had a shorter stint together. But man, and everybody knows Chris Carter's credentials. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah. No, he's a monster. All-time great. All-time top 10. Borderline top 5. Which again leads into my next one. And I'm going to throw this. I debated this one. My guy Stafford and Megatron had the 1 year.
Yeah,
they had the 1 year.
He's on my list.
And those guys were right that year, and they also had Ndamukong Suh. The Lions had their year. They had a shot.
Yeah.
They had I don't know. We'll talk about the general management of that team and how they threw away a good coach and all that another time. But
yeah,
that was a team, and Megatron was next level, and Stafford was getting it done. They had cutesy Golden Tate and Reggie Bush on the sides too. I mean, it was that was a year. I can't remember the stats, but Megatron went crazy. 20-something touchdowns. Stupid.
Yeah.
One of the greatest all-time seasons.
Yep. I mean, honestly, we were on the same. We were square step on that one. That was my next one as well, because people can say it's a longevity. That's not a longevity.
No.
Those were those two guys at their peak. We get to see
Stafford at the same time too. I mean, you're right. Stafford's still in his prime, and who knows? Megatron still could be in his prime too. Who knows?
Yeah, but that was my next because that season was ridiculous.
All right, now I've got to decide because I've got honorable mention Steve Young and Jerry Rice.
Of course,
great tandem, Jerry Rice and anybody, but they just missed the list here. I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are up there. I mean, come on, guy. I mean, how are you going to argue with it? It's my number 3, and I battled between Stafford and Megatron and Rodgers and Adams. Those two are pretty close, but who do you have at 3?
I got this guy on my list another time, Kurt Warner and Torrey Holt.
There you go. I've actually got Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce on mine that just missed the list.
Yes.
So you have Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce, Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, different. Holt and Bruce played together for a couple of years, but
yeah,
they were both awesome. Remember Oz Hakeem? Remember that?
Oz Hakeem.
Of course, they had Falk on that team too. I mean,
greatest on turf.
Yep, I can't fight you on, dude. Those Warner years when he was right. Whew. All right, now let's go. My number 2, I'm going to do it. Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison.
Of course.
And that had the longevity and the lightning in a bottle because they peaked at the same time. They played together for I'm throwing it out there 8 years or something, and you could throw Reggie Wayne under there too.
Yeah, that umbrella, of course. Yeah, dude, it's nothing to say. It's really the greatest tandem almost ever. So let's be honest.
Yeah, man. Do you have that? Who do you have it to?
At 2, I had, and this is based on what we talked about actually in the beginning. And the only reason they're not at 1 is because I think that they're the greatest of what we're talking about, and that's Brady and Moss.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that was. Could you imagine those two for like 5 or 6 years that they got on the same page mentally and physically?
Unbelievable.
I mean,
unbelievable.
I mean, Brady. You could argue a point for Brady and Welker, and we all know that Welker is. Statistically, you could argue a point for like the Chris Carter and Warren Moon versus those two. Statistically, I mean, but that's just because the system and Brady being that great, and I mean Brady's done it with Edelman for a few years there.
I was gonna say Brady may have made Edelman a Hall of Famer. Like if we're honest.
Yeah, so I mean, but Brady, if he would have had the stud that Moss was. Because Moss is in my opinion, the greatest talent of all time receiver. Jerry Rice, best receiver, fine. I'll give it to you. But Rice is not as good as Moss physically in their primes. I'm sorry. No. Kill me for it.
No, I can't. 6'4".
Rice isn't even in the top 5 as far as like specimens in their prime single season. I mean, there's guys like Megatron and David Boston and guys like that they had their one.
Terrell Owens. Let's not forget Terrell Owens.
T.O., dude. I mean, there's a lot of guys that you could throw in there, but Rice did it well. Rice was in the top 5, top 3 for a decade or more. So that's why and Tim Brown you could throw under that umbrella too.
Yeah.
Number 1, I've got Brady and Moss. I mean, I already spoiler alerted that thing 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But for the same reason you just said.
I had this as just because of it being that lightning in a bottle. And again, I hate Green Bay, but Favre and Sterling Sharp, your fifth.
I love it.
It was because I think Sterling Sharp, even though he was a hybrid tight end, whatever tight end receiver, whatever you want to call it, he was the beginning of what we look at as receivers in a new age. And if his career doesn't get cut short, you never know what could have happened. You know, Shannon talks about it enough, but the stats tell you what you need to know. Multiple All-Madden teams, multiple All-Pros. Sterling Sharp was a different human being. And Brett Favre, of course, was, the Iron Man of football.
Yeah, Sterling was the first one to show you that you could be a receiver and you didn't have to be built like Jerry Rice and you could kill people.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys that are out here killing people now, and I'll go back to David Boston. He took it next level. That dude looked like a deadlift Olympian. Yeah. He's out there picking people up by the throat and smashing them into the ground. That's different. Like a W.
If I got one just as one that I left off, but Eggman and Irvin, they deserve shine in there as well.
Just on success alone.
Yeah.
That's where I threw Young and Rice in there. You could throw Montana and Rice, whoever you want to do. I don't care. Yep. So anyway, man, so we're going way too long, but that was good. Good talks.
We're making up. We're making up for lost time.
Yep. We're going to be back. We're going to cover the playoffs too. So do not stray away. We're going to give you the winners in the playoff games as well. So let's see how this thing unfolds. Got a lot. This is a big weekend. There's a lot to be decided. Anything else to close it out? Are we good? We don't.
Good.
Thanks everybody for joining. Tune in next week and we'll do it again. Peace.